So, buyer agency video. Here we go. If you're watching this video, one of two things is probably happening. Either I sent you this video with a buyer agency agreement and this is your next step, or you're gathering information about buying a home and you just want to know or understand what a buyer agency agreement actually is. Either way, it's an important part of the buying process. It's the second piece of paper I'm going to be handing you. So I don't want you to sign anything without understanding what you're agreeing to. A buyer agency agreement explains that I'll represent you as a buyer, what amount of time and what responsibilities I have towards the agreement with us, right? And it covers how my brokerage will be compensated. So that last part is the what, the huh. All right. It's because it's a big deal because it's changed. A lot of things have changed, and this is part of the transparency, and they'll change things. So does this mean you have to pay the entire buyer broker fee out of pocket? Not necessarily. All right. I tried so hard to make sure you don't have to. So here's a few ways. These are common ways. The one is old school. It's the original way it's been for years. The seller pays the buyer's brokerage. That when I represent sellers, I really fight hard to make sure we do that because it brings better buyers, right? And before we write an offer, I'll determine whether the seller is willing to pay the buyer brokerage compensation or not. Just a phone call. And because you're not allowed to even list that in MLS or anything. It's a big secret. You have to call them. And if they are, and it satisfies what we've agreed on in the buyer agency agreement, then that's usually the simplest path. Done. Move forward, Option 2, we negotiate it as part of the offer. Everything's negotiable in real estate. Like if the seller isn't already offering enough or anything at all, we can just ask. It's one of the terms. It's part of the purchase, right? Just like purchase price, settlement dates, or inspection terms, it's negotiable. That's what the contract is. And the seller can accept or reject or make a counteroffer. That's what negotiations are. Another option, when the numbers and financing allow it is important, right? We may be able to structure the offer, or the transaction differently. So, for example, if the home's value supports it, a buyer may choose to offer a higher purchase price while requesting the seller to help cover the eligible buyer's costs at the end, at closing, right? So whether that's possible or not depends on the financing, the appraisal, because the higher price has to appraise for that, and structure it and be really exact with the numbers, and the lender has to approve it before we can do anything. And I also want to separate something like buyer broker compensation from seller assist. Buyer broker compensation is brokerage representing you, right? Seller assist is generally, it helps with eligible closing costs, lender fees, title costs, prepaid taxes, sometimes even an interest rate buy down. But if you want to sell to help you with both, we need to actually address both in the offer. They're two separate things. So here's what I want you to do. Read the agreement, pay particular attention to the length, how long it's for, date to date, and how you feel about that, if we agree to anything already or not, right? The compensation section, and how that works, and what area, if you just want, I can do single houses or I can do neighborhoods, I can do PA. My job is just to make sure that you understand that what you're agreeing to and how the compensation works and how to how we'll handle it before we start writing any offer, because you always have to call anyway. I don't want you to discover some kind of or what happened at closing. That doesn't happen with me. So, and this video is just general explanation. The actual agreement I sent you controls our relationship. So please, if you have any questions, ask. I'll make it clear. Thanks.